Let me just do the audio.
Yep.
Good to go.
All right. Good evening, folks. Editorializing a little bit for those that may be watching this video after or listening to the recording. The town of Plattsburgh is using an integrated approach given the unprecedented times of COVID-19 and with some advisement from the Association of Towns and Council. Our council members are joining us via the speakerphone system for our town board semi-monthly meeting. We're going to get right into this. So I'm going to do, can I get a roll call, please?
Michael S. Cashman.
Here.
Thomas E. Wood.
Thomas, can you say?
I'm somewhere.
Okay.
Meg LaFave.
Here.
Barbara Hebert.
Here.
Charles Costick.
Here.
And James J. Coffey. Is he here?
And Jim?
Jim?
Yeah, and Jim's here. Okay. Resolution 57, approve the minutes of the previous meeting.
Resolved that the minutes of February 13th and 20th, 2020 be approved and the reading of the minutes be dispensed with.
Is there a motion for that resolution?
So moved for the first time from the phone.
Tom Wood, in a historic declaration. Is there a second?
Seconded.
Hebert, is there any discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any objections? I heard all voices, so the resolution does carry. This evening, what we did is we provided in the hybrid approach through social distancing the opportunity for the public to engage this evening. No one is here for the public comment, so we will move forward. In the future, we will be using another approach, the Zoom technology, in addition to live meetings. So we'll go right to Resolution 58, the abstract, 3B-20.
Resolved that the abstract of audited claims number 3B-20, 319-457 for $435,640.74. Abstract 3B-20, 56 through 65, prepays for the amount of $166,354.86 be received, that the abstract of the audited received as reviewed by the audit committee, and the supervisor is hereby authorized to pay said abstract.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Costick, is there a second?
Second.
LaFave, any discussion?
Yes, Kevin sounds so far away.
Well, we're using social distancing. I would like to thank Barb and Chuck for, especially in these extraordinary times, for still getting in to do the abstract audit. So thank you very much to both of you.
You're welcome, Michael.
All those in favor, please say aye.
No problem.
All those in
Aye.
favor, say aye.
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 Hearing ayes, so does carry, and resolution carries. Resolution 59, the monthly department reports.
Resolved.
I make a motion to waive the reading of the resolution and move to vote.
Waive the reading, move to a vote. Was motioned by Barb Hebert. Is there a second to the effect?
Second.
LaFave, any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Chuck and Meg, I didn't hear yours.
Aye.
Thank you, carried. Resolution 60, highway request for a new 2021 tandem axle plow truck with trade.
Whereas the Town Highway Department has submitted a non-collusive bid for a new 2021 tandem axle plow truck with a trade of a 2011 International, and bids were received, therefore be it resolved to receive a letter dated March 9th, 2020, Mr. Dubray requesting permission to purchase one 2021 tandem axle plow truck with trade pursuant to the New York State Office through the General Services Standards, and purchase group contract, and it is further resolved the purchase of a 2021 tandem axle truck and equipment be awarded to Charlie Bois Incorporated in Milton, Vermont, in the amount of $177,820 be approved, and it is further resolved that the town board does hereby grant permission to Mr. Dubray to order said truck with equipment, and that payment for said purchase will be made payable from the 2020 budget equipment and capital outlay account number DA-5130-2000, and that a copy of this resolution be given to Mr. Dubray, Highway Superintendent, and one to the Accounting Department.
Is there a motion?
So moved by Hebert.
Hebert. LaFave, is that second?
Yeah, I actually made the motion, but I'll accept it.
I'm actually gonna give it to you first because I heard a mumble there, so Meg and then Barb. Chair's discretion.
Mumbling still? Gosh.
All right, so is there any discussion?
Yes, I'm wondering, you have put out a memo that you're stopping all of the spending that isn't necessary for the year because we're not sure about sales tax and we're not sure about what's going to come in. If this continues as predicted for 8-9 months or more, I'm wondering if we're going to need to have the truck at this point in time because there's not going to be that as many people on the road. There's not going to be people going to school, and perhaps we don't need to plow as much or do as much work. And if we're really worried about sales tax, and I am, then maybe we should postpone it.
Tom, I would say that in speaking with Tim, this is something that there's a process for the build out of this truck. One of the things that we have done really well as a township is to put in the appropriate rotations of our vehicles. And this is one of the last large expenses that his department really anticipates for quite a while. And that these numbers we were looking at before that kind of moratorium was going into effect. I feel confident that this is an appropriate purchase at this time moving forward, even in light of some of the things that may be confronting us in the future.
I agree with you that it's an appropriate purchase in normal times, and I agree with you that we set a precedent. We've always done that to try to get these every 2 years so that we don't get behind. But we are in an unprecedented time, and if we don't get the money in, we need to pay our staff, and we're going to be paying staff whether they're working or not. So it does seem like we have to be a little more careful.
Okay. Further discussion?
Michael, has there been any discussion about a potential point that we could stop the process? As far as it going forward?
Sure. What I would really say is that at this point, we really want to do it now versus, like you hear about various municipalities that start to build, various equipment, and then a quarter of the way in or more than halfway in, they start to change direction. So if the board is not comfortable with this, I would recommend either tabling or denying it for now, rather than, hoping to pivot later on. I think that makes it that much more messy, in working with, that type of process.
Yeah, Michael, this is the process that's through OGS, or Office of General Services, correct?
This was through the bidding process. So, because remember, this truck will be built out.
Okay.
Are there other ways we can cut if the sales tax doesn't come in later on?
Sure. I mean, all other spending has been frozen at the moment. Well, let me be clear, essential spending, or non-essential spending. We're still buying things like hand sanitizer, just to put it in context. If a truck had a flat and needed a tire and stuff, there's still gonna be some spending. I will tell you that I'm having Patrick Bowen work on some models of what the budget would look like if we only received 90%, 80%, 70%, you know, so on and so forth, that we can use that as some models and projections moving forward.
Michael?
Yeah, thanks, Michael. That's one of the things I wanted to ask about any type, you know, so that we keep an eye on the budget for those projections, you know, sort of modeling what it might look like.
Sure, absolutely.
Michael, did you say, I thought you said it wasn't done through the general services and purchase group contract?
I think this one was the,
Pursuant to New York State office through the.
yes, sorry, yes, it was, but it was still through that spec. I apologize. Yep.
Well, I'm willing to go along with it now, as long as we get those projections and we can figure out how we could manage to pay everybody and keep going
Yep.
without very much sales tax. Because I don't know who's going to be coming to buy anything when they close the border, and I don't know who's going to be spending a lot of money. Most people sort of hunker down and don't spend when there's something as serious as this.
No, I would agree with you, Tom. All right, I'm gonna call the vote. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Okay. There was unanimous consensus on that. Thank you very much. Like I said, we will be tracking the numbers closely. This resolution does carry. Resolution 61, Recreation Program Contract of Services.
Whereas Parks and Recreation utilizes instructional services for programs in the town of Plattsburgh, and whereas the Youth Services and Recreation Director recommends contract services for program and said persons to get a W-9, now therefore be it resolved that the supervisor is authorized to sign all necessary documents necessary for these short-term contract services.
Is there a motion?
So move.
Costick, is there a second?
Seconded.
Hebert, any discussion? Just to put this in context, when we have some of the instructors for like the summer camps, that's what this is for, is so that we can tie up some of the paperwork there as it relates to those individuals with W-9s, all right?
Now, this isn't necessarily going to go forward that we have this program, though, is it?
Right, this does not commit us to a contract. This allows that should something be authorized, that we now have a process for that to be verified.
Okay, because I know the rec has been shut down. I think that's what you said.
But I'll give you an example. This is for all seasons. So if we get into, for example, October, and they're doing, they want to do like a pound class or like a Zumba class, this would cover that.
I have a question, as long as we're on Parks and Rec. A lot of activities are outside, and it's supposed to be safe if you're out in the sun and you're away from, you know, people.
Yep.
We can't have any recreation this summer, or this spring or summer?
We haven't been given any of those directives yet. We're still registering for our upcoming sports seasons right now. So recreation, the rec department, for lack of better terms, has not been completely closed down. They're not working in the physical office space at the moment.
Okay.
Okay. So going back to this, I'll call the vote. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
All right, thank you.
Aye.
Resolution carries. Resolution 62, Cumberland 12 Cinnamon License Application.
Whereas to comply with the town of Plattsburgh codes and zoning laws, Cumberland 12 Cinemas has applied for a license to conduct and operate a cinema known as Cumberland 12 Cinemas, located in the town of Plattsburgh at 18 North Bowl Lane, Route 9. And whereas said application was applied for and received with a license fee of $500, and whereas the codes department has completed their inspection and has found Cumberland 12 Cinemas to be in compliance with all local laws and New York State regulations and codes, therefore be it resolved to receive and place on file an application for a license to conduct and operate Cumberland 12 Cinemas, and it is further resolved that the town clerk is hereby authorized to issue said license for the period from January 1st, 2020 through December 31st, 2020.
Is there a motion?
So move.
Costick, is there a second?
Seconded.
I'm gonna give it to LaFave. Any discussion?
Yes, why is it January 1st to December 31st if it's for a year? I mean, are we retroactive or what?
Yeah, we're retroactiving, this particular, actually, both of them.
And they've been operating without a license or just not operating?
They've been operating. This has been one of those ongoing issues with the cinema because we work through their corporations, and to Kevin's credit, he reached out as quickly as possible when he became the new clerk to administratively get some of the materials from them.
Yeah, okay, so it was a previous person that didn't do the job. Okay, thank you.
All those in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Carries. Is there consideration to waive the reading for Regal Cinemas application? It's the same resolution.
So moved.
Tom would waive the reading, go to a vote. Is there a second?
I'll second that. Seconded.
Meg, is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
So carries. Resolution 64, site plan return deposit for Poyer's True Value and Renee's Repair at Site Plan 2019.
Whereas the Town of Plattsburgh Planning Board has reviewed and approved all requirements of the Poyer's True Value and Renee's Repair Site Plan 2019, and whereas the Planning and Community Development Department has coordinated inspection of said project and reports all requirements have been met and completed, therefore be it resolved that the supervisor is hereby authorized and directed to release the deposit in the amount of $500 plus accrued interest to date, and it is further resolved that a certified copy of this resolution be forwarded by the Planning and Community Development Department Secretary with the return of deposit to Chad Poyer.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
So move.
Hebert, Costick, Tom, you lost that one. Is there any discussion?
I didn't try because they've all been trying to get seconds and they haven't been able to get them, so.
All right, so kind of you. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
So carries. I know of no need to go into an executive session this evening. I will give you just a brief update as to where we stand with the town of Plattsburgh. And overall, as many of you know, the World Health Organization had declared COVID-19 outbreak a pandemic, and the governor has also declared a state of emergency. The President of the United States also declaring a national emergency. Clinton County stated a need for a state of emergency, and in concert the town had declared a declaration of emergency. That was done on Sunday. At the time, there were no positive cases. However, around the country, New York State and adjoining localities near us, cases were developing. Right now, we have 2 active cases. We are continuing to monitor the ongoing developments of the situation, are including, as we know, the border has a closure to anything but non-essential activity. We continue to watch the sales tax as it makes up a massive portion of the town of Plattsburgh's budget. The economic disruption of this health emergency will have immediate impact on our financial stability. And effectively, I suspended all of the non-essential purchasing and travel. Interestingly enough, some of those travel items that we would have considered suspending, those conferences have been canceled. So, you know, you're seeing a lot of changes within the landscape overall. We received, under directives from a statewide memo from Judge Marks to the towns and village courts, that the town justice court would be closed for sessions effective Monday, March 16th at 5 p.m. We are directing questions down to our court system downstairs, and we continue to monitor that closely as well. At the very beginning, department heads were instructed to begin to apply workforce flex schedules. and that was taking place starting Tuesday, March 17th. We were using guidance and continue to use guidance to make changes. Some of the material continues to come pretty fast, but a list of essential personnel for the town of Plattsburgh was developed, and each team member was designated a level of either high, medium, low, or none. This was done in mind of an individual's duties and responsibilities, in particular performance of which is essential to the public health, safety, and welfare. And it is to be utilized to even potentially authorize travel if it were to come to a situation where we have to identify who can be traveling the roads at any particular time. Or events and activities necessary can also elevate an individual. We're working with our employees related to any hardships that may be created for family coverage. We know that the schools have been shut down, and no doubt we're experiencing unprecedented times, as I've said. Things are changing simply by the hour. I want to thank our team for navigating these times together, seeking guidance. We look to New York State Governor Cuomo's office, New York State Department of Health, Clinton County Health Department, the Clinton County Ledge offices, the Association of Towns, the CDC, Jim Coffey, our council. So we continue to do what we can with the information that is delivered. We often have to recalibrate because some of the information that we get, we felt we were going in one direction and we need to catch up. I am continuing to hold regular department head briefings each morning to communicate the information that comes forward. In particular with us as a town board, as I said, we did engage in a license with an online software called Zoom. We'll be making best use of that to engage. It allows for an interface where we can see each other, and we can also provide a link to the public as well. Social distancing, personal hygiene, and best practices through guidance of New York State and other agencies continue to be our top priority. So that's just an update as to where we stand. Does anyone have any questions?
Are you getting
yes.
daily briefings from the county health department?
They're giving us briefings and information through a number of mechanisms, press releases, phone calls. They're also holding some press conferences themselves. Everyone is fairly taxed. You know, we don't always get that one-to-one communication, but we are getting good communication from the agencies that we're partnering with.
Thank you.
Yep.
The Justice Court, you said the Justice Court is being closed. How are they handling any criminal offenses?
They are working through, and as somebody that's on that committee, Tom, I would strongly encourage you and Barb to make contact with the justices and the court clerks. Right now, they're getting through, you know, this day by day through some guidance.
Okay. And just had one question. You know, you mentioned that everybody's got a status as to whether they're, you know, essential personnel or stuff. I'm imagining my status is none, right?
Nope, your status is high. All elected officials
Oh, shucks.
are for the most part high. What we are trying to do, Tom, is to protect people. You know, and that's why we're going to use a number of tools like Zoom, email, phone calls, etc. Really, what the best advice that we're getting is that while we're not being advised that we're, you know, held in place, locked in place, that people really should be staying at home or limiting their interaction with others. That's not saying that people can't go outside. I don't want any of that interpreted. So we're just trying to slow things down and use tools to everybody's advantages.
Yeah, I was just in close proximity to my bird feeder.
Michael expressed to the town of Plattsburgh team, kudos for enacting some solutions, whether it's the doorbell in terms of being able to have access, you know,
Yep.
by case, situation by situation, and then the quick building of the ramp that went to the tax receiver's office. I did receive some feedback that our constituents were very happy about that.
That's great. It was utilized today, so for those of you that may not know exactly, I hope you were able to see the photo that I attached to one of the emails. You've heard of drive-up windows and pneumatic tubes. Well, we don't have that ability, that type of infrastructure. So instead, we built a small little ramp up to one of the windows in the tax receiver's office so that we can have a walk-up window. There's a little shelf there so people could lean against and, sign documents. They're also putting kind of a little, for lack of better terms, canopy type structure in case the weather is bad outside. We imagine at some point that service may be shut down as well, based upon directives of interaction with the public. The building is on lockdown except for appointments and case-by-case scenarios, and Kevin has been fantastic. We have a doorbell feature where people ring it, he goes to the door, he assesses the situation, and then contacts the appropriate office. People come down, connect with those individuals. The individuals are here for that short period of time, and then they exit. So we're really trying to limit the interaction directly with the public for their safety, our safety, and the building also continues to go down or be in double cleaning protocol. So Tony, for example, has been absolutely remarkable. Each doorknob, for example, and light switch is being touched multiple times throughout the hour, and just really keeping the space clean. We're starting to get that kind of lemony smell. It's a smell that will soon look forward to getting out of my nostrils in the spring fresh air.
So I hope Kevin has his step counter on then.
Yep. So any other
All his steps in just going to the door.
any other questions? All right. I just again, I want to thank you folks for your flexibility. This isn't optimal. We will be moving into another level. I continue to be accessible by phone and email. The way that I plan to do it, even though we do have some workforce reduction, is I'm coming in the office each day. I've been in by 8:30 at the absolute latest, and staying many hours after. So don't hesitate to give me a call even after hours. I know many of you have full-time jobs and are managing that and family and other things. The last thing that I'll say, and I'm going to say it right to our camera and the public, please take care of yourself, take care of your friends and neighbors, wash your hands, and just be as attentive to the situation that's out there. So we know this is a little bit different, and we appreciate our public's patience and as we continue to work through this. So is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn. Good night, Meg.
All right, Caustic, and then I'm going to give it to Tom. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Pat,
Yes.
can you hear me? I think that we should follow up with a plea for people to not leave home if they don't have to.
Yeah, Councilwoman LaFave wanted to express, if you're seeing this, the plea really is, if you can, stay at home, and if there is a directive, please listen to that and stay at home. It's one of the best ways to slow this down and to address the curve. Did I capture your sentiment?
Absolutely.
All right, all those in favor for adjournment?
Aye.
Aye.
I'd say drive safe, but it seems like most of you are at home. For those of you that still need to drive safe, and we'll talk soon.
Good night.
Thank
So long,
you. Good
everyone.
night.
Good night, everybody. Stay
Bye.
well, colleagues.
I opened the meeting, I put down 5:47, Mike. I think it was like 5:47 when we started it. So. Good job.